Okay, hello. I thought about shifting this thing over from a stream to just videos. Is this loud enough? Let me check. Hello. I could probably pump this up. Pump it up, pump it up. There we go. Get it a little louder. There we go. Into the red. Into the red. Now I can turn my headphones down a bit. I have a new mic. Well, it's not a new microphone. It's an old microphone. It's my old microphone. It's the SM7B, the one that I used to have at work because I bought it from my old employer. They were having a fire sale of all the old equipment I used to use, and got asked if I wanted the audio equipment that I used to use for voiceovers, so I went ahead and bought it. Got a pretty decent deal, except for I was a little mad that the foam, the windscreen on the top of the SM7 is a little ripped. I don't remember leaving it in that condition, but nevertheless, c'est la vie. I can always replace it. It's no big deal. The microphone's still fine. But yeah, that's new. I noticed that, oh wow, the title wasn't on this one. I changed the title of the video in the stream, the little bar, but it's on the other screen. I guess that's because that's what I was watching, and I was posting the name of what I was watching. And now it doesn't make any sense to have it like this, so whatever. I screwed the pooch. I wasn't paying attention. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about shifting to videos just because I don't think what I do qualifies to really facilitate the live stream aspect of it. I mean, I interact with Victor Rand when he watches, but that's about it. It's just me pouring my thoughts out on the internet. It's not like requires a live stream. The only reason I'm doing a live stream is because I'm lazy. Wow, that looks like it's fucking cut. That table's screwed up. And that's all it amounts to, is I'm just lazy. And that's the reason why I'm debated just doing the video thing versus doing live stream, because if I do videos, then I'll have to edit, and I'm just too lazy. I'm just far too lazy. It's hard for me to explain, because it's not like I'm lazy, so lazy that I wouldn't do it. It's just I know I wouldn't repeatedly do it. I'd do it for probably 5 or 10 episodes, and then I would just stop, because why? Who am I doing it for? What am I doing it for? So what is this stream about? Well, I'm kind of getting used to the idea, or it's becoming glaringly apparent, that I'm old, and I just keep getting older, and everything that I knew and everything that I liked is dying or getting so old that, and like people, like actors from the era of time when I used to watch movies are all like in their 70s now, if not older. I mean, it depends on who you're talking about, but even like, I just saw something on Facebook about Mario Van Peebles being 68. That's just, and I see stuff like that. I'm like, how is that possible? And then I remember how old I am, and it's like, oh, that's how it's possible. Because even though I dress like a fucking dickhead, I mean, look at me. I'm almost 50 years old. I turned 50 years old this year, and I'm dressing like this. It's dumb. But part of it has to do with my job. The other part of it has to do with the fact that, I'm suffering what they have called for years a midlife crisis. That's the thing now. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing the midlife crisis thing. Existential crisis. That's what I like to call it. It's not, maybe that's what every male does at a certain point. Maybe maybe that's what it's defined, because I don't think midlife crisis applies to women. I think it's only men. I could be wrong about that, but it seems like mostly men when you refer to that. But I don't think women honestly have the capacity to have an existential crisis. And there's a reason I think that. I think it because I don't think women really think about their situation. They don't just obsessively think about their situation like men do. Women are more emotional than men. Men just don't deal well in emotion. I mean, it's just a fact. Emotional men aren't men. I think one of the hallmarks of being a man is that you struggle with emotion, because that's part of the manliness, the masculinity that you have. It counteracts emotional outpouring, or even the acknowledgement or recognition of emotion. You sort of have to analyze things. You have to process things. I think it's because men genetically, maybe just evolutionarily, who knows, have been problem solvers. We're like born, dyed in the wool problem solvers. We have to be. I mean, in a lot of cases throughout my life, you could say that men have wore this role of responsibility. They have to be the provider. They have to do this and that. But I think that was one way of looking at it. But my definition is absolutely problem solving, because that's more well-rounded and well-defined, as opposed to just being the stereotypical man's man, work the 9-to-5 job at the plant and provide for his family, and, teach his kid little league and blah, blah, blah. Take his boy hunting. There's all sorts of different types. It just manifests differently, I believe. But it germinates from the same place. It's just this propensity to say, what other function and role do I play and serve in life, where I'm the most needed? Where do I fit in to the world? And I think most men just default to that. And then that's another reason why men look at other men who don't fit that mold and say, well, they're not men. They're disgraces. Because I think even no matter how, like, where you are in your walk in life, if you're a man, you can be a child for a long time. I mean, I was pretty much childish up until about 26. Still living out fantasies, still pretending I was going to be a rock star or some super popular record producer, shit like that. Putting my whole life on hold for those dreams. And even after that, it took me growth into true maturity and adulthood took many years beyond that. But what I started to understand was that all of the responsibility and all of the things that I ran from, I started to crave, and they started to fill in the holes inside of me that I never really knew existed, because I was still a child. And the little things just kept, they always satiated me. They always fulfilled me. So as I grew, a lot of those holes started to develop, because the traditional fillers from before just stopped filling them. It stopped working. Being art was the first one to go. Art was absolutely the first one to go. I used to really enjoy painting and drawing and doing art, things like that. And then that just went away. I stopped doing it. It just wasn't, it wasn't filling the hole anymore. Then music became the thing. Playing music, writing music, being in a band. And then that faded. And it got to a point where it stopped really filling that hole. And then it became recording, audio production, the idea of working behind the scenes. And you could almost see like the blueprint, at least in my life, of how I started to make that transition away from just self-gratification direct self gratification to something more akin to a job, something where I'm doing something or providing a service that both gratifies me but also serves another interest. And that was a stepping stone toward adulthood for me. And but that didn't do it. I shouldn't say it didn't do it. It couldn't do it because the world is a tough place, you know. And when you come from nowhere and you come from nothing, it's hard to get into a world like that is already, you know, filled with people, and it's kind of a struggle to wiggle your way in, especially if you come with baggage, which I did. Now, beyond that, I think what the next phase of that life was like, you know, doing the videographer thing, the film thing, videographer thing, whatever. And that was a lot of associated with my job. And I thought, you know, that was the kind of thing that was going to really do it for me. I can really do something with this. I mean, there's something here. And unlike audio, which is going away, film and video, that's going to be around forever. I'll be able to get into that. I'll be able to make a name for myself. And then the internet happens and streaming happens and everybody gets a camera in their hand. And that sort of faded too. And now it's like, and you know, throughout that period or shortly after that, it was streaming and YouTube, being a YouTube person or an internet person and all of that. And I started trying to do that myself with Jerkcast and drinking beer and that whole thing. Drinking beer first. Drinking beer, the channel was my first real foray into internet personality territory. And then Jerkcast after that. And then that became a social wreck. Eventually, once it got to a point where I was like, I just don't, I don't want to have to, like, you know, partner up with people all the time and coordinate all this shit and get all these people on board on the same page of something I could do myself. And I had to thank George for that, because he kind of, he sort of clued me into the idea. I mean, I was unaware that you could just do it on your own, you know, and do it. So, you know, just like this, not even so much like this shit. It was fucking just Google Hangouts. I literally couldn't believe that people would actually sit there and tune into a live stream that was nothing but a static picture that would just appear and they'd talk. But most of the time, that seemed to be, I mean, there for a good 2 to 3 years. That's the way it was. It was the rebirth, so to speak, of anonymity, but it also was like, I don't know, I guess it was just more palatable. And I sort of understand it, because it adds the mystery to the complete picture. Like when you really get into someone and their show and what they say or what they do, it's almost better to not see them, because then your mind can piece together what it is, who they are, what they do. For the most part. I mean, a lot of people made hay doing that, but eventually people's egos would take over, you know, and they had to be seen. I started out on video, like I literally went backwards when it came to that. So, but that was my next phase of like, this is going to fulfill me. This is going to fill me up. This is going to be the thing that, you know, makes me happy and I'm going to be interested in. And it didn't. If anything, it made me more anxious and felt more shitty. I found myself in circles that I didn't want to be in, and I just got out. And then woodworking came along, and I was like, "Ooh, I can get into this." And just so many different roads I've gone down and traveled down to try to find something. But over time, they're just fading away to the point where they don't serve the purpose that they need to serve. And now I'm running on fumes, and I'm doing yard work. I'm taking a huge interest in doing yard work and things like that. I'm taking a huge interest in feeding the birds in our backyard. Old man shit. I'm just going to say it. Old man shit. And it's depressing. It's super depressing to look at this situation and realize the most depressing part about it is I'm still interested in a lot of the things that I used to be interested, but I can't do them. I can't be involved in them. And now I know what people would say. Sure you can. Why can't you? Why would you ever tell yourself you can't be involved in stuff? I'm like, because I'm old. That stuff rules, man. No, it doesn't. That's old man talk, Victor. Don't do that. Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not comfortable with becoming an old man. I'm not settling into this role. I'm not adopting it. I'm not taking it on. I'm not handling it well. I want to play music again. As much as I want to punch myself in the face for saying that, I want to play music again. I want to be in a band again. I want to play live shows again. I want to write music again. I want to just do that I want to be a part of that scene again, you know. But you can't. And I know you can, but you can't. You just can't. Not be taken seriously and can. You're just going to be old men on stage, you know, like the guys who just couldn't let it go. And I know I get hung up on dumb shit like that, and it shouldn't matter, but it does. Play us a jaunty tune right here and now. No. I don't even know if I could because of the SSL setup. See, the funny thing is I have a bunch of instruments, but I don't have a single amplifier. I sold my last amplifier 8 years ago, and I swore I would never buy another one. But I also swore I'd never buy another guitar. And since I swore that, I bought 4 more guitars. But I have been writing. I have been writing a few things with my buddy Sean, and I've been working on old mixes for my old band and things like that. And I've just been getting slowly back into the process of that. And the worst part is that the band that I got kicked out of back in 2007 is what I'm working on now. The CD from the last CD they did. I'm re-recording guitars for it, even though I wasn't in the band when they released it. I'm re-recording the guitars and I'm remixing it with Fender Studio Pro. It used to be Studio One, the PreSonus Studio One. Now Fender bought it in 2021. Now they've rebranded it to Fender Studio Pro. So I'm probably getting a new DAW because I've been down that road before too. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, it's like I feel this pull. I watch old videos of us playing live, and I miss it so terribly. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I come home from work and if I don't watch YouTube, I'll play a video game, I'll watch YouTube, I'll fall asleep. And it sucks and I hate it. I want stuff to do in my life. But all the things I like to do are young man shit. I mean, I know guys who are still my age who are still kicking it, playing bands and doing shit, playing live shows. And I get asked all the time if hey man, play guitar with us. I'm like, it's like, look at me. I'm a fucking wrinkled old mess. But I will say this. Now that I left my old job, I feel a lot more free to be able to return to that world and not have to worry about the judgment that I would receive or how it would impact my job. You know, I wouldn't have to deal with that at all. So that's a positive. Maybe that's where a lot of this is coming from. But I start to realize that we all get old. Everyone's going to get old. Even young people who think they're never going to get old are going to get old. But you just never think about it until you start getting old. And then when you're old, you're like, fuck, because all I do now, one of the things I do now is I totally regret the wasted years of my past. And I think about everything I've learned and everything I am now and all the wellspring of knowledge that I have and experience and wisdom. And I think, man, if only I could just roll back the clock 15 years, I could do so much more. There's so much more I could have done. But, and I don't know why I say 15 years, as though, I mean, shit, most people would say 20, 30 years. Go back to 18, man. But I don't say 18 because 15 years ago for me was better than 18 years ago. Because 15 years ago, I had a decent paying job and I had money. And when I was 18, I had fuck all nothing. I literally didn't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw it out. I barely had any clothes. I had nothing. Like the only thing I left Illinois and to go to school, my fucking house caught on fire and my room, everything that I owned practically burned up, you know? So I left for Florida with literally the clothes on my back and that was pretty much it. So yeah, going back to 18, not ideal for me because there's too many memories of just having nothing and having to build my way up from nothing. And it was a long time, you know, that's what I tell people a lot. It's like, I don't believe in this idea that there is a rags to riches story. It's never as clean as that, you know, because I've faced that struggle myself. When you come from nothing and you try to climb the ladder to success or whatever, it's like you have so many more obstacles than anyone who had any sort of privilege or any sort of opportunities. You have to create all that for yourself. And you don't just get to say, hey, I'm here, and then opportunities find you. You have to establish yourself, and you have to prove that you're a person that is dependable and that people can trust and rely upon, and blah blah blah, and meet people, make inroads, and it happens on such a microcosm scale that it's like it has to start out so small and then germinate and build from there. But I mean, it can, but it takes the time scale in which this takes place is a lifetime, you know, and. So that's why I don't understand how, like, if there is a rags to riches story, the person doesn't get rich by the time they're 30. They'd get rich by the time they're 60. Because unless they just lucked into some bullshit, which that's the case. I mean, in a lot of cases, like, but see, even those rags to riches stories, like, oh, this, you know, broke down and out, you know, college student who was going to school for computer science. Like, well, just the fact that you were going to school for computer science shows that you weren't as down and out as you're claiming to be. Because anybody I've ever known or anyone I've ever met who is a computer science major and actually went to college and got a degree had more to go with. They didn't just start with nothing. They weren't poverty level, you know, because they had to have a computer to learn on. They had to have something to learn the language on. You know, it's like they had opportunities and they utilized them, and that's fucking fine. That's great. I'm just saying that in those cases, if you had a knowledge base that propelled you to a place where you could actually start making money at a specific time, because times change and they benefit you, whatever, just like the .com boom and all that, then that's great. But you had to already have enough opportunity available to you to be able to learn that stuff, to even get your foot in the door at the time when it was kicking off. I mean, that's what I mean. And that's at a time that's pre-internet time. So to get that deep into computer science in the, you know, early to mid 90s, you know, you weren't poor. I can guarantee you that. But you know, and like I said, it's not a fucking poor pity party sort of feel bad for me sort of situation. It's just, but it is regret. It's regret in the sense that, like, but it's regret to a certain degree where it's like, I know there's nothing else I could have done. I did the best I could with what I had. I guess what I'm saying is I just wish I had more time, you know. I feel like my time is coming to a close very soon. I don't feel like I'm going to be around much longer. I I don't know how else. I don't know what to say. Like I just have this feeling that I'm not going to be around very long. That my time is very limited, and that I I just want to, I don't know, have fun before I go. I want to have something to. I want to have one last sort of fun time, before I go. And I don't know what that is. I thought hiking was it. I thought hiking and backpacking was the thing that was going to be like the new thing, the thing that was going to be like replace all the other bullshit from my past. And I was going to throw myself totally into that. And that would be its replacement. And it was for a while. But now it's got its own string of caveats and hardships and issues that really rear their head every fucking time I try to get out and do it. And it makes it less of a desirable thing to do. I don't know, it sucks, but it is what it is. I'm trying to figure it out, but I mean, I never did get to the point where I could go like through hike the AT. And I know that's going to be a thing that's like, it's not going to be something I can do while I have a full-time job, obviously. But I'm not alone in this world. I mean, if I were by myself, then by the time all this shit happened with my former employer, I would have eked out a year or so of time in this 2026 to say, all right, fuck it. I'm leaving my former job, selling my house, whatever, and I'm going to go hike. I'm going to go hike the AT. Then when I get back, then I'll worry about the rest of my life. I'll get a job, I'll do whatever. But I wanted to see, I guess my thing was like, I'm just sort of an adventurer. I want to see what new experiences propel me into, not be afraid of change, not be afraid of finding something new. And not everyone is like that. Not everyone feels the same way I do. Specifically my wife. So here we are. I've learned a lot at my new job, I can say that. I've learned a lot. I've learned that I've been trapped in a podunk town for many, many years. And the mentality of being trapped in a podunk town really fucks with you. It really does. It changes your outlook and your perspective on life. And you see things so differently. And that's why in a lot of small towns, you end up with a lot of conservatives. And I think a lot of people from cities naturally look at small towns and they think it's nothing but conservatives. And they would be right almost all the time. I mean, statistically, they're more right than they are not. It's not all, but majority so. And it's crazy to me because I used to not buy that. I used to be like, nah, you'll find plenty of liberal people in smaller towns, and but even the liberal people in smaller towns are still. It's like they're artsy, but they're still conservative. You know what I mean? Like they're conservative, but they're not churchy. They're conservative, but they're not Trumpers or whatever they don't like about the conservatives. That's what they're not. But deep in their heart, they're still conservative. There's just aspects of it like that. But I can't say that like the defining thing about being a conservative is you want to be in a small town. You just want to be small people and small town and small thoughts and small this and small that. And if you're a liberal, you crave the big city and you want to have bigger thoughts, bigger ideas. And I look at it like I work in Springfield, Illinois now, which is a town of 100,000 people. It's not huge, but it's bigger than where I came from. It's bigger than the town I currently live in. And I was like, well, and when I started working there, I was like, well, I'm going to have to get adjusted to this come and hustle and bustle of Springfield. 2 months in, I'm already adjusted to it. But I've also been to Chicago several fucking times. Not by choice, but one thing I learned by going up to Chicago was that Chicago's not that bad. It really isn't. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean, now granted, I've been going up there with someone else, so I've had conversation. If I go up there by myself, I'd probably be fucking miserable and out of my mind. But it's been all right. It's been like little adventures, you know, long adventures. I did one Tuesday this week, 16 fucking hours. It sucks, but you know that's the name of the game in this fucking working for the state. So, but one thing I did learn, one thing I've come to realize is that I'm more judgmental than I thought I was. I thought I was very open-minded. I thought I had more, you know, I was more awakened to the idea of what people were, and I had everything sussed out, you know, but I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. That's what I mean by living too long and working too long in a small community in a podunk town. Your thoughts, you sort of isolate yourself into this way of thinking, and you're like trapped in it, and you don't even know it. So you start to see the outside world, the bigger world, as this place that's full of these ideas that doesn't resonate with you, and it's not just, you know, some people, it's everyone, and even the people who do adhere to a lot of these ideas. You start to think, because your only input with them really is the internet, what you see and hear on the internet or the news or whatever. So to you, like liberal activists or whatever, they start to become these fanatical zombies, you know, like NPCs, so to speak. And to them, on the flip side, any conservative or everyone from a small town might as well just be a Trumper and a MAGA supporter and all that. That's all they are. I've talked to them too, and they're like, "Oh, most of the Republican base is MAGA." Like, not really. Most Republicans voted for Trump, yes, but what other choice did they have? They didn't really have a viable choice. And ultimately, I don't know of a one of them. I can't say I don't know of a one of them that just blanket supports everything he does. I know a couple, but most of them have a decent head on their shoulders well enough to know, like, they don't support everything he does, but they do support the conservative agenda. But I've met many liberals now who are they're down with the plan, but they're not all in, they're not blind, you know. They're still critical of decisions being made on that side of the aisle too, which I can respect, you know. I don't like anyone who just gives a blanket pass to anything their party does and says, well, it came from the party, so it must be good. Like, no, not all decisions are good. Some decisions are just pure politics, and that's all it is. And you just got to roll with it because they're the party in power. And to hear someone who is a self-defined activist sort admit that, you know, an imbalanced party within our own state, like where the party in power has like a almost 2-to-1 supermajority, doesn't really bring a lot of, you know, new ideas to the table. It more or less just means that you only get one opinion and one option. And to hear that from the other side of the aisle, not to say I'm conservative, but all I've been inundated with for many, many years is the conservative viewpoint. So to hear it from the other side, which I don't get a lot of access to, is refreshing, because too often, and that's what I meant, like I'm stuck in the small town kind of thinking. It's like, you know, you hear that for so long, you start to believe it, and then it's sad because when we all stop talking to one another and we stop associating and we start believing the other side is this or that, and then, you know, it just goes out of control when we really do need to just open our minds and start talking to one another again, you know, because differences are differences, but it doesn't mean we have to fucking nuke each other. But what does that have to do with growing old? Well, everything, really. I mean, because it's like everyone's politics and perspectives change, and the older you get, the more numb to all of this I feel like people should get. I know I have. I mean, the older I get, the more I don't give a fuck. The more I don't care. It's like I just stopped caring. And I'm frank about it. I'm honest about it. One of my biggest concerns about starting this new job was that they were going to find out that I don't give a shit and they're going to oust me. Like, I'm not down with the plan, so I have to go. I don't know why I think, but that's part of that fear that I was talking about, like the ignorance of the liberal side and how they actually are rational people. And you know, I just assumed it was like hotbed of irrationality, and as soon as they find out I'm not down with the plan, that I'm out. But that's not the case. There's more people there, surprisingly, who aren't down with a plan than I thought. Some of them even Democratic congressmen, which was a shock. But I guess that's the incestuous nature of government, you know, because it's a game. I mean, the sad part is on the public sphere, at the public level, they stopped letting people know, reminding people it's a game. And now there's people who are incensed by rage bait and drama, and they truly feel like this shit is play for keeps all day long, 24/7. And we got to dial down the rhetoric, or we're going to mass implode. No, we're not going to have a fucking civil war. And I'm tired of that fucking shit too. I'm fucking tired of hearing. I've been tired of it ever since I fucking first heard it. And I'm tired of it now. And it's not getting any closer now than it was like 8 years ago or plus or whatever when I first started hearing it. It's like, I mean, how long does it take for a civil war to kick off? If it hasn't kicked off by now, it's not kicking off. So go fuck yourself, Tim Pool. Because that's what it is. That was the first person I remember talking about fucking civil war constantly. It was probably because he got an uptick in views. Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like all of that is just a function of life. That's not really into what I'm talking about. It's the emptiness that I feel in the sense of like I'm watching life in the rearview mirror now. And I don't know if it's just me. It's hard for me to just sit around with, like, I don't think there's a group where you can get together with people and have conversations about just being old. Like a group of 50-year-olds who get together and just talk about how do you feel about being 50 or in your 50s? How does that impact you? Most people are just like, I think most people in their 50s have graduated to the place of, well, I just do what I do and blah blah blah. I'm just not that person, I guess. It just sucks for me because it's like I can't count how many times I've cycled back around this whole music thing and playing music and being in a band and doing that shit. I've done it so many goddamn times since 1990. It's like in a band, out of a band, in a band, out of a band, in a band, out of a band, over and over and over and over. And it never gets anywhere. And I would be okay with it if I actually had fun with it, but I've been in so many different bands over the years, and I'd have to say there was really only one that I ever had a good time in, and that was Four Pointed Sisters. And that's not happening ever again. Although it could, right? I will say this. We could bring Four Pointed Sisters back. because I don't have to fucking worry about Cascom shit anymore. I don't have to be a pillar of the community anymore. I can be a disgusting sex maniac again. I can take up my old mantle and be the singer for 4 Point Sisters again. But, you know, Tim's a father, you know, and he's a respected, you know, person at Verizon. You know, he's got a good job. He's got a wife who's an educator. She would not want him being in a band talking about the shit we talk about. Of course, you know, not to say that the shit we'd write today would be the same nasty shit we used to write about. But, you know, but it's hard. I don't know what it would be. I know it would be profanity laced because that's all I can come up with at the drop of a hat. But if we kept our improv roots, it would just be weird. It'd be all over the place. But I don't think Tim would. I honestly, I know for a fact Tim would not be a part of it. I know he wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Sean Sean's brought it up in the past. Sean, the drummer. And I was like, I don't know, man. But this is when I was at Cascom. So, but he's, after years of working in warehouses and moving boxes and doing that shit, he says it's taken a toll on his hands and his nerves and his hands, and he just doesn't feel like he can play anymore, which sucks because, I mean, that's kind of the whole deal. But even so, even if we did, even if the fucking stars could align and we could come together and play even if we just got together and recorded again, that would be a feat. But if we actually got together as a band and started, like, we're going to start playing shows again, where the fuck would we play? You know, where would we play? Because there's nothing going on. Live music has fucking died off like crazy. Like, you can't find shit. What venue? I mean, there's, here in Jacksonville, Illinois, there's a record store called Pizza Records that occasionally has shows. That's about it. And they don't have them very often. It's not like they have them every weekend. It's not like old clubs back in the day where you'd have music throughout the week, and then on every fucking weekend would be live bands. No, it's just a once in a while thing. And that's just a lot of younger kids trotting their bands out, doing their thing. There's Dumb Records in Springfield that is taking up the mantle of the Black Sheep back in the day. It was the all ages club there, but they're also a record label or a record store or something. And they put on shows, but they're like, younger punk oriented stuff, hardcore punk, alternative shit. Nothing like what, I mean, I guess 4 Point Sisters was kind of like that, sort of, not really, but we always labeled it as punk, but it was more the punk ethos than the actual punk message or whatever. Depends on what category of punk you're talking about. But ultimately, we're just old men. And we never had a follow. We had a following, but it was like 5 dudes. It was like not very many people heard us. The ones who saw us live remembered us and still remember us. I will never forget, like, just running into some dude. I had no fucking idea who it was. He's like, man, I remember that show you guys played. It's like, what, Funky? The Who? It's like, no, you were in 4 Point Sisters, right? Like, and my jaw just hit the ground. Like, what? You remembered that band? It's like, yeah, I remember your show at the place here in Jacksonville. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Goddamn, that was like 25 years ago, or at that point it was probably about 20 years ago. It's like, you're fucking kidding me. You remember that? Jesus Christ. He's like, yeah, I'll never forget it. That was the craziest show I ever seen. I was like, well, we were pretty drunk. That'd be the other thing about doing 4 Point Sisters today. It's like, doing it sober, I don't know, man. That'd be That'd be a weird one. But it'd be fun. I mean, I guess that's all I ever really wanted, you know. And that's what I'm kind of getting at is like life for me now is just looking in the rearview mirror, and I hate it because I don't want life to reach that point where everything that I ever did was behind me now and I just only have the memories to look back on, because that's just such a depressing idea. I still want to have things to do, you know. I still want to have things to look forward to and to engage in, and I don't want to just sit around and think about the past and reminisce about the past. That sucks because we didn't really do anything. I mean, all you're reminiscing about is like fun you had. I remember this time we had fun. Remember that time we had fun. Sure, everybody has fun. Everyone can reminisce about the fun they have. But where's the new fun, you know? But like I said, I mean, there was that New Year's Day trivia thing that I did that was fun. But that's not the kind of lasting fun that being in a band was, you know. That was, or maybe it's rose-colored glasses, who knows. I remember there being a lot of really shitty times, but I also remember there being a lot of really fun times, really great times. But I also remember there being a lot of drinking, a lot of drinking, a lot of drugs, a lot of drinking, and a lot of places that I'm not going back to for sure. And I really wouldn't want to see any of my friends who struggled with that for a very long time get roped back into that world either. As a result, not saying that it would just be this that would bring it back, but it was like, I don't know. It's funny to me because it's like, of all the people I played music with and been in bands with, like Sean the drummer is the one that I've got the strongest connection to. But it's not something I didn't try to break at one time. The chains that bind us are forever, forever. But no matter how many times I tried to cut my way through it with a fucking hacksaw and break away and work with other people, which I did many, many times over, I found myself coming back to him every single time, because at the end of the day, he and I are very much alike in what we want and how we view things and how we look at things, and just we have an overall jovial nature about us, and a sense of humor that just kind of overrides a lot of things. We don't take a lot of things too seriously, and that's what's always connected us musically, and it still does to this day. We still work together on stuff, and we'll continue to work together on stuff till the day we die. But I watch it fizzle. I watch it become less and less of a thing that, you know, we put very much time into or effort into or really work at, because it's not a band. I guess that's what it all comes down to. Since it's not a band, it's not something we actually work on. As crazy as that fucking sounds. You know, someone's musical project can't be a serious thing. You know, my musical projects weren't. I tried to get friends of mine and other people interested, like, oh, I'm doing this thing called Charlie Dango, and I'm writing these goofy songs, and they're just simple, like 4-chord songs, and, you know, coming up with the lyrics in my head and busting it out. It's like, you know, hey, help me work on this. You know, maybe I can parlay this into a band. No one was ever interested. The Chinese water torture stuff that I did with Chris, that never really materialized into anything. The only thing that I felt like was a project that I kind of developed was Old Man Eloquent. And that plateaued. I occasionally have dreams where I'm back in the band again, and we're getting to play a show for some reason, and then like I don't know how to play anymore. Like I haven't played a guitar in 3 years. That's interesting. I have all my dreams are work related now, but it's crazy like not doing it anymore. You know, when you do it for so long, and then you think back and like, especially watching videos of myself playing, I swore I used to say like, I never really had any fun playing. Bullshit. You can see it on my face when we're playing live. Like I loved playing live. It was just I don't know. It was just a good release. And I wasn't drunk all the time. I wasn't drunk at every show, but it was a fun experience. It was a good time. I miss it. I miss a lot of the music that we wrote. A lot of the stuff that we worked on and that we did. I took great pride in writing, playing. I took great pride in the fact that people resonated. It resonated with people and people liked it. You know, I mean, that says something. You know, you write something and people actually respond to it and like it. You know, that's a great feeling. To get done playing a song, you know, and have people cheer at the end is like, it's an amazing feeling. Because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it should be happening, but it does. But that I haven't had that sensation in how long? 20 years? No, it hasn't been. Jesus, yes, it has. It's been 20 years. Holy fuck. God damn. 20 years since the last time I've been in a band that actually had songs that people cheered for. God, and I say it like I was about to say that's like half my life ago. I'm 50 this year. That's under half my life. I'm getting older and older. As I continue to do this and I continue to talk about my life in the rearview mirror, that number just keeps ticking upward and upward and upward. And all those experiences that I talk about having get further and further in the past. And that's the shit that's scaring me, because I'm not creating new memories with the people that I know and love, that I can say, look back on that, look back on this experience, look back on all the fun we had doing that, you know. But there's also the aspect of how much of this is being condensed in my mind. Like my memories are of a decade-long period are being condensed down to like small little fragments, and I'm remembering them as though they span that entire year totally, and it was nothing but fun. But really, it was a 10-year span where only maybe 5 great things happened, and I'm using that as like, oh, that's just the stuff I can remember. That's literally probably the only shit that happened. I mean, let's face it. Don't do it sober. That's the I have to. I'm never going back to drinking because I can't. I'm an alcoholic. I can't go back to drinking. I'll destroy my own life if I do, and it's not worth it. Ever since I put the bottle down, I've had great experiences. I mean, I was in 3 different bands in that time. So I played shows. I've written music, played shows, been in the studio, done the whole 9. You know, completely stone sober. And I was even in a band with a fucking meth addict. I was like, I still fucking pulled it off. Cokeheads, meth addicts, hardcore drinkers and drug addicts. It never swayed me back into tipping a bottle back, you know. I got beyond it. I could remember playing shows in St. Louis, you know, and the rest of my band, we're waiting for fucking 3 hours to play because of our slot on the bill, and the rest of the band's completely fucking hammered and, you know, having a great time, and I'm just like waiting for our slot, you know, stone sober, having as good of a time as I could. But man, I didn't even smoke. And that you can smoke in St. Louis bars, so that was kind of like a real shit sandwich, because it was like, fuck. It's like, If there was ever a time where I wish I still smoked, it'd be now, because that bar was filled with cigarette smoke. I walked out of that fucking club, my eyes burning, like, oh God, was this always the way it was? But it's like, I was able to do it, and still, I guess you could say I didn't have as much fun, because even in those bands, they were just bands. We played music that didn't really resonate with people. Nobody really got it. Or it was, I don't know. It just seemed like it was much harder to get out there and do it. I mean, the scenes had all but died off. You know, getting a show was like pulling teeth. And then the people who showed up, if they even did show up, they didn't show up to see you. The best experience I had as an Old Man Eloquent was our very first show, and that was opening for the Pimps Annihilate at the Castle Theater, and we were the opening act, and it was our literal first show. Hardly any people were there, and it's like, you know, it is what it is. That the unfortunate few who showed up early to see Annihilate got an earful of us. They didn't really give a shit. And there's nothing worse than being in a theater with like 10 people and a smattering of applause after your song. Like, oh, fuck you. What are we doing here? But that's why I kind of missed my old band. The band that, it's a long and sordid tale. But this is what I mean. Like, I live in the past to a certain degree, because like I look at the track of the band I used to be in, the band that I truly feel like I more or less created. And I had a lot to do with on the outside, on the inside, everywhere in between. And I think the worst day of my life, for the most part, was getting kicked out of that band. Because it really changed me as a person. Not so much to where I, have a lifelong grudge against the people in the band and the people who decided to get me out and whatever, because I still talk to them to this day. One of them was Sean, my brother in music and brother in life. I still love him to this day. We still pal around, hang out, goof around, do shit, write music, do whatever. But hell, after I got kicked out of the band, I think it was like a few months later, we recorded another 4 Point Sisters CD. I was like, I could never stay mad at him. It was just the thing that changed me was that it was the end of something that I had invested, whether it was conscious or not. It was something I had invested almost the entirety of my life into without even realizing it until it was over. And once it was over, I could never go back. And that was kind of the thing that was the regret. It was like, this is over for good. And I'm in the process of reworking and remixing some old material that I wrote. It was like one of the last things I wrote in the band. And it's bittersweet because it sounds amazing to me. The work I'm doing now, I think, truly fulfills the vibe that I was going for back then. And my mixing chops now are far better than they were in the past. So I think overall the entire mix sounds better. It sounds more like a complete realized thing, even despite the shitty tracks that it comes from. It still sounds pretty remarkable. But for what's it for? What's it for? It's for nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the reason I say that is because take into consideration the fact that the scene, or discount the fact that the scene sucks, and that music and the music industry as a whole has completely changed. Discount the fact that you can't get a show anywhere, that you can't even sell your music anymore. Really, you can put it on Spotify and you can put it on all these things, but it's like, where does it go? What does it do? You know, I've had Old Man Eloquent on fucking Spotify and Amazon Music, Prime, and iTunes and all this shit for years now, and it gets no more hits and no more plays and no more views than it ever did. You know, because it's just one of billions probably songs floating around on the internet. You know, the likelihood it would ever get picked up and heard and actually pumped out there, slim to none. So any work I do on this is just pointless. Not to mention the fact it's more indicative of a time frame of musical scene that's already long past, you know. And that's all I'm doing is making it sound like music from 20 years ago, like when we wrote it. It's more like that time. It's a time capsule of that. But I love it. I think it's great. But that's one aspect of it. The fact that the industry's changed, the music scene's changed, everything. We're all old, fucking 20 years older. But coming back full circle to the whole point of talking about how my life was changed when I got kicked out of the band. It's even if discounting all of that, I can never be a part of that anymore. You know, I was kicked out. I was thrown out. You know, so no matter what I do to make this sound better and sound professional and sound as good as it possibly could, I'll never be a part of it. You know, and that's like a kick in the teeth, because I feel like that's been the story of my life when it came to the band Funky Circus Fleas. It's like their success, whatever, if you even want to call it that, the successes that they did have, I contributed to from the outside, from the back end, and but I could never be a part of it. You know, I was always seeing it happen and witnessing it from the sidelines, even though I had many opportunities to be a part of it. I remember Aaron wanted me to play guitar in the band as soon as I got back from Florida. I'm like, nah. I don't want to do that. I'm already doing this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. And I jammed with him a couple of times, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then we started doing 4 Point Sisters. I was really into that. And that was a whole thing. Maybe that's more or less what I miss, you know, is that whole era of when we were like, when Bandemonium was going on and we were getting radio play. 4 Point Sisters got radio play, which is fucking hilarious. And then Funky Circus Fleas started getting radio play, and when Beardstown started getting noticed, you know, in the region and in the QLZ broadcast, you know, area back then. It's like we were putting Beardstown on the fucking map, and people started becoming aware of us and our town and our music and the creativity coming out of it. And it was actually making waves in the scene. It was like, this is fucking badass. This is cool. I like this a lot. But I was always by that time I was on the outside of it, because 4 Point Sisters was done. Sean, the drummer of 4 Point Sisters, joined Funky Circus Fleas, and they were that was the new thing, you know. And I got to watch them, a band I literally created pretty much, because all it was Bacteriostatic. I had a band back in 1995, I started back in 95 called Bacteriostatic, with all the members of that band. And then I went to Florida to go to school, and they continued on as Funky Circus Fleas. But I think one of the major reasons I didn't join Funky Circus Fleas when I got back was that I heard what they were doing. And I guess you could say that's my fault, but I heard what they were doing. I heard the music they were writing, and I'm like, you know what? You guys are doing fine on your own. It's like, and if I come into if I come in and I start playing with you guys again, I'm going to end up inadvertently changing the sound of the band. Just because I write differently than Payne does or Aaron does. You know, I don't write this kind of way. And I like the way you guys are doing this. So I don't want to be in the way of that. I don't want to change it. I want you guys to keep going. And I want to see what you guys do. You know, because to me, that's more interesting than actually being a part of it. And it was. It really was. Until Randy joined the band. And once Randy joined the band, it's like, he did exactly what I was telling them I would do. But he didn't give a fuck. He was like, my band now. So he just started writing his own material and doing his own thing. And that became Funky Circus. For better or for worse, that became Funky Circus Fleas. And everything I loved about Funky Circus Fleas kind of went away. And the sound of the band, the quirkiness and the attitude of the band and everything about it just went away. And what was left was this hard-edged, dark, serious rock metal band that was more or less just like a Randy creation than it was anything else. And it was what it was. There was nothing much I could say. I mean, when Payne was still in the band, Chad Payne, the drummer, the original drummer, was in the band, it still retained, he's fought for his own songwriting ability. So it stuck with that for a long time. And you could still hear the tinges of that in some of the songs that they wrote after Randy joined the band. But once he was out and Sean joined the band, it was full on the Randy show, you know. And it was like that for a long time. And that's when the band really started to pop off and get really big. Their song A-OK was the one that really resonated with everyone. And rightfully so. It was a good song. But I watched that happen and I thought, you know, this sucks because he just did the thing that I didn't want to do. And look at what's going on, you know. Look at what these guys are doing and accomplishing and all the shows they're playing and all the opportunities they have. And here I am on the outside watching this happen. And I'm like, well, that fucking sucks. But because it was like the two things I didn't want to happen. One, I didn't want the band to change. It did. And two, I didn't want to be, I wanted to be a part of it. If I wanted to be part of something, some sort of musical thing that actually caught fire and did something. And yeah, I'm on the outside and it's changed and it sucked. But what was even, I shouldn't say it was worse, but not the, how do you put it? The thorn, the nagging, gnawing part of that was that I'm on the periphery of the band. I am assisting the band. I'm their fucking record producer, you know. I help with their sound. I record their CDs for them. You know, I help them with the promotion. I ran their website. You know, I'm on the sidelines. You know, I'd run live sound for them during venues sometimes, shit like that. And so I became the emotional sponge for all the members that had a problem with the band. Any bitching about the band. Oh, Randy was doing this. Randy says I can't do this. Sean's being an asshole about this. Blah, 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 blah. Or if it was Sean or Randy, go, Chris is fucking being a douchebag. Aaron won't show up and do this. Blah, blah, Bub's doing this. Members talking about the other members. Standard fucking band drama bullshit. Everybody talking about the other fucking person. But here I am, the one person who everyone comes to and is talking shit about the other members because they just got to get off their chest and they know I'm on the outside, but I'm also on the inside. So they can talk to me because I'll know what they're talking about. And they don't have to worry about it getting back to the other person because I'm not in the band. I played that role for many years. Many years. Then when Randy died, and I joined the band out of I joined the band because emotional outpouring, because I didn't want them to break up. Because I was naive enough to believe that they actually would. The whole experience, playing live shows was great. Being the surrogate for Randy was not. And that tempered a lot of my great experiences. It probably propelled me into harder drinking than I really wanted to. Because I remember when I first started with those guys, I was trying not to drink. Because I really wasn't drinking that much at the time. And I remember the first several shows, I didn't drink at all. But the more and more the pain of Randy's family, you know, seeing me on stage and that emotional outpouring, it's like I had to fucking dull it somehow. I had to numb it. I had to run away from it and escape it because I didn't want to deal with it. It's not my cross to bear, you know, and it's not I mean, I know I stepped into the role, but, you know, I'm up there singing Vinie Son's fucking vocal parts, you know, playing his guitar parts. Of course she's going to be upset. And I think she wanted me to be more of I think she wanted me to be more sympathetic and more part of her world and try to, she longed and loved her son so much that she longed for him so much that she wanted to transpose me into her son's role. And I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew it wasn't going to work. I knew it was just a painful experience that we were all kind of going through. And I was uncomfortable. She knew I was uncomfortable. She couldn't help herself. And it just got so much worse. But the shows that we did play, it was just really nice to play shows where you got positive feedback and people sharing things like that. It was nice. And when I started writing songs, that was when it really started to resonate with me. Because at the beginning, it was like just playing their songs, the songs they'd written before I joined the band. But then when I joined the band, because we were in the process, I mean, when Randy died, we were literally setting up, the night he died, we were setting up to record their follow-up CD to their first one. The sophomore effort, if you will. And so they had all this material that they were ready to record, and then it just got put on hiatus for a month, several months, because of the death. And then they were like, well, now what do we do? We're like, well, you got all this material. It's like we'll just record it, you know. But as we started working together, as they, you know, they're teaching me the songs and getting me familiarized with the way things, you know, how things were played and what to do and blah blah blah. We started working on material because there were a few songs that weren't finished, like Dramamine wasn't finished. And then I was like, well, why don't we just, you know, if we have any ideas, we'll just throw something down. And then we did. And we wrote Betty's Pen and Mr. Positive. And that went on the album too. And they were really good songs. I really liked them. A lot of people liked them. People loved Betty's Pen. Every FCF fan. Like, they all, of the material of the last CD I was involved in, Betty's Pen was the one song that everyone was like, they're still, FCF still got it, you know, kind of deal. although AOK was, because AOK was the song, that was their song. That was the one that they'd been playing for a long time, but it had never been properly recorded. This was going to be the CD that was going to have AOK on it. So it was going to be a big thing for them because that was their hit, if you will. And the unfortunate situation is that it just wasn't meant to be because Randy died. And by the time I came in and we recorded it and played it, a lot of the fire went out, you know. A lot of the fire went out. Opportunities missed. A lot of people stabbed in the back, you know, who were helping the band out. The band's just general, I don't know, egos and whatnot, you know, which was, to me, was crazy. I was like, why are you guys fucking being assholes like this? Like, you're not even at any level where you should be acting this way. You know, this is fucking dumb. But that was when I first got in the band. Once I stepped into that role and I started actually trying to book shows and things, I realized how terrible it was. How terrible those guys were, you know. You know, it's a group of people who literally just suck at what they do. Yet they're going to tell you how great they are and how much they deserve and how much it should be coming to them. And then on the flip side, tell you, oh, well, it doesn't matter if we make it or not. It doesn't matter if we do. I'll do this for the rest of my life. I'll just keep playing the same bar. I was like, everything you're telling me up to this point, it sucks, and I don't want to hear it. It's like, I'm kind of driven and motivated to actually do something. You're telling me you don't care if you spend the rest of your life in a dive bar singing to a bunch of drunks. These two things do not correlate. Do not gel, especially with the ego that some of these people are carrying around. It's like, whatever. But I'm getting chewed out by the fucking bass player about the shows I'm booking. And he he can't even tap his fucking foot and play the goddamn song at the same time. There's a fucking problem there. You know, that's me being elitist or whatever, but I know how to fucking play. It's like, I think I've earned the right to be critical of other people. I'm a musician who's been doing it for many, many fucking years. I learned my craft, and it sucks being in a band with people who don't know how to play and then being criticized by them and told, oh, this is the way it is. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me how it is. But I still love Bub. I love him to death. He's always going to be a brother to me. He's not the greatest bass player. I get it. He's good. I mean, I'm not going to say he's terrible. Fuck, he turned my head around when we got Bacteriostatic back together. His playing on that CD still to this day is the best playing he's ever done as far as I'm concerned. And it gelled so well with what I was doing, and it was just rock solid and spot on. He changed my mind on him ever since then. And you know, it just sucks that things turned out the way they did, because with the drummer being a fucking meth head, I had to break the fucking band up because I couldn't stand to be around him anymore. But, you know, it is what it is. The band names you mentioned just sound stupid. Well, that's because we didn't give a fuck. I mean, the meth head drummer is the guy who came up with the name Funky Circus Fleas, and it's a stupid story that's not going to make it's not going to be any better when I explain it. But there's a church in a nearby town from where we all grew up, and it was called Faith Christian Fellowship Church, and they have this old school bus that they drive around and take kids to and from the church. It just said FCF Church on it. And he didn't know what it meant, what it stood for. So but he remembered that FCF. And then he just said Funky Circus Fleas. And it stuck, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was the dumbest name on the planet Earth. And everyone who ever heard it said it's the dumbest name on the planet Earth. But it just stuck. They could never fucking shake it. And believe me, by the time they got to the point where they're opening for bands like fucking Primer 55 and Dope and shit like that, yeah, they fucking wish to God they would have changed the fucking name of that band, because it's a stupid fucking name. But they were stuck with it. We had like uh I can't pronounce the name of your band. Deprecator. Yeah. I always say Deprecator. When I look at it, I always say Deprecator. We had like Deprecator, absolute magnitude statutory 8. Way better band. Four Pointed Sisters, Funky Circus Leaves was stupid name. Four Pointed Sisters is a dumb name. That's the one that I think Sean just blurted it out. I don't even know where the hell he got it from. He just blurted it out. And I'm like, that fucking name's so dumb that's sticking. Because we were also always about that. One of the things that we did that we had a really bad habit of doing was making song titles that were like temporary song titles. Like, this isn't the name of the song. This is just what we're calling it right now. It always ended up being the name of the fucking song. One of the last songs I wrote with Funky Circus Fleas was a song that we called Ass to Mouth. That was just what we called it while we were writing it. And that song is still called Ass to Mouth to this fucking day. They call it ATM. But everyone knows it stands for Ass to Mouth. But it's like, why would the song be called Ass to Mouth? Because we're fucking dumb. We're goofy. We don't give a fuck. I mean, it was just dumb shit like that. We named another one of our songs after another band because we said, oh, this song sounds like the band 7 Degrees from Center. So we called the song 7 Degrees from Center. And it still to this day is called 7 Degrees from Center. They just never, we should have figured out early on, or at least I should have, that you don't name a song a fake name and say, we'll change the name later, because it's always going to stay that fucking name. Just like the band Funky Circus Fleas stayed Funky Circus Fleas. And I had that same problem with songs much later that I was working on, like fucking all my Pink Tusk and Old Man Eloquent stuff. That was all like bullshit names I just came up with. Bacteriostatic had one of the dumbest. That I think one of the very first songs we wrote was a song called "Suck the Singer's Cock," because I blurted that out because the main riff in the song is just this like it's just this fucking rockin' ass fucking almost like a 70s 80s style like single note kind of progression. It just sounds like traditional butt rock and roll. So I don't know why that translated into "Suck the Singer's Cock," but that's what the song's called. So, but we're dumb that way. We're very, very dumb that way. Like I said, this was a product of me and Sean, the drummer. It's like we had a very similar sense of humor, and we just didn't take things as seriously as a lot of other people did. We could play along, but when it came to the shit that we did ourselves or come up with ourselves, it was always just dumb shit. Dumb ideas, dumb whatever we could throw together. We're just having fun. Why not? It just sucks when the seriousness takes over and you can't really have fun anymore. But yeah, the regret that I have is just I won't have those experiences again. For whatever it's worth, and even to the level I had it, which wasn't even compared to the level that they had it at before I joined the band, because they were playing to much bigger crowds, much bigger audiences, much bigger shows. We played a few fairly decent shows, a couple hundred people, nothing huge, but you know we weren't opening for touring bands and shit like that, so. It was very much at the tail. It was falling off quite a bit by the time I was in the band. And even though the stuff that I was bringing to the mix had its own fanfare, so to speak, amongst the crowd, the fans, and I still feel like it retained it. I was explaining this to my wife recently after I was doing the mixes. I was like, my whole intent when being in the band was to bring back the quirkiness that I always loved from the first era of the band, but keep the we're trying to make it thing, the polish and the professionalism from after that, from the when things started taking off with Randy and whatnot, and meld those two together into a viable form. But I wanted to ditch the darkness of the Randy era. Randy was all of his writing was very dark. It was very much super goddamn serious, super dark, not very, you didn't have fun. It was very supposed to be meaningful and have emotions and blah, whatever. So I was like, I'm bringing the funniness back. I'm bringing back the quirkiness. So everything I did was like very upbeat and peppy and poppy, and it resonates with people. I'm sorry. So I went with it. But we were also really, really big into Coheed and Cambria at the time. So a lot of the songs on that were coming out of that period sort of sounded like Coheed material or Dredge or Circa Survive or bands like that. We were really heavily influenced by those bands, and it just sort of came through in the music. But I felt like it had a propensity to pick up. I mean, it could have went somewhere if only if only the band wasn't on the path to self-destruction, with the drinking, the drugs, and just the overall general shitty attitude that we had. And that was one of the things that I was always like, I don't want to ever repeat this again. And when I started playing music again, I ran so far away from the concept, because I sort of attribute it to, when I got kicked out, I attribute it to Sean being the architect of that, because I felt like nobody else in the band they were all very upset with me. They were all very tired of my shit, but they weren't going to kick me out. I knew it was Sean that pushed the agenda. And that's why for a long time I was like, I may play music again. And I went a long time before ever touching an instrument or playing again. And I said after that, I'm like, I may be in a band again, but I'll never be in another band with Sean again. Just because I don't want it to blow up and turn into another situation where he and I just don't stop talking to one another and can't be in this, can't associate with one another because there's too much pent up aggression and animosity because of this whole music thing. But that lasted all of 2 years after I started playing again, because band shit is band shit. And when Old Man Eloquent started to implode because a certain drummer was basically throwing a gauntlet down, saying, hey, either get rid of your friends or I'm leaving. I'm like, bye. I'm not going to fucking turn my back on my friends for you. Like, I appreciated him as a musician and his role in the band. I thought he did very well, and I did enjoy his drumming. But the fact of the matter is, you don't put me in a position like that. You don't tell me choose between me and your friends. It's like, pal, I've been at this for a very long time, and I know we're not going anywhere. So you're asking me to basically fucking say fuck you to my friends that I've had for way longer than I've known you, just for a band? No, never going to happen. It's like, I'll see the band tank before I kick my fucking friends out. And not to mention, this is also coming from the experience, because the friends that he's talking about are two of the members of the very band that kicked me out. So they were contributors to my, me being removed from the band. So I'm like, sure, I guess if you look at it from that frame of mind, it would have been comeuppance. It would have been justifiable. It's like, well, they kicked you out of Funky Circus Fleas. You can kick them out of this band, and I'd be like, tit for tat. It's like, yeah, but see, I didn't enjoy that experience, and I still feel weird about it to this day. And it would be super hypocritical of me to do it to them, knowing how it affected me. you know. And I'm not that kind of person, you know. I'm not the type of person who does shit like that. And I'm just not. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not even saying them kicking me out of the band was a bad idea or didn't need to happen, because it honestly did. I was a fucking drunken mess. I was I was on my way to death, an early grave in that band. And I was going to take everyone down with me because I was a fucking horror show. They did. I mean, I didn't stop drinking afterwards. I mean, it only got worse from there. But I was becoming so horribly belligerent and so horribly unapproachable and just doing really terrible shit, like at shows and stuff. And I was just letting the alcohol fucking take hold. And I eventually did, and then, you know, got sober. But I had to go through a journey to get free of that. But they didn't need to be a part of that. They didn't need to be tied to that and subjected to that. And to say that the stuff that, especially when I look back on the stuff I'm re-recording now for that old material, and I say, oh, well, if I would have stayed in the band, we could have done that, and then we could have, you know, got that out there and tried to make hay with it. That's to say that I would have even have thought of these parts back then and added and inserted these parts and mixed it that way and made it sound as good as I could. I don't even know if I would have had the capacity or the patience to do so, or even just the want. Because like I said, I was dealing with alcoholism, and I was dealing with the animosity toward the band of all these people that I didn't respect musically, trying to tell me what the fuck to do. And the inner politics and the inner workings of bullshit within the band, and having to deal with other people's childish nonsense. Just, I had had enough. That's what it ultimately came down to. I had had enough. So when the time came, I was convinced I was okay with it, because I wasn't going to leave, but I was so ready. I was so tired of their nonsense, and they were tired of mine. And it was just kind of time to go. But I feel like, and maybe what I'm saying now is part of that rose-tinted glasses regret shit. The existential crisis, midlife crisis shit, whatever you want to call it. Where I'm looking back and I'm saying, just look at what all the opportunity that we missed out on because of this one event happened. And I send mixes to Sean of this material, and his natural instinct is like, man, I'm going to show it to the rest of the guys, and we're going to try to re-record it and redo it this way. Like, they're not going to do it. It's not their song. It's not their playing. It's not their stuff. You can show it to them, but it's just going to do nothing but piss them off, because it's not their playing. And they're not going to learn the parts that I wrote. They're not even going to want to play it. Not to mention the fact you're talking about 20-year-old material. Why the fuck would they ever want to go back and re-record these songs from 20 years ago the way I performed them now? Like, I think Sean in a lot of ways is exactly like me. He's having these regrets of like, this is the potential of what could have been realized way past its prime. And it just stings. It's a harsh, harsh mistress. And it really does sting. And that's kind of in a nutshell what I'm talking about. It's encompassing this whole idea of age and regret, and reflecting on one's own life and seeing the choices that were made, realizing the mistakes that were made, and fantasizing about what could have been if only, as though that were actually the possibility, you know? Playing as a bass player, getting in the pocket and the groove is awesome. Being able to dance around the pocket is ecstasy. Yeah. I mean, it's one of... Being a musician and playing music in a band is an experience a lot of people have. A lot of people don't. But it's one of those things that once you do it, it sticks with you forever. I mean, I've tried to walk away for many, many times throughout my life, but I always come back. Because there's just something about it that just like, it's that, I guess you forget how much bullshit there is involved in being a band. After a long enough period of time, you really do forget. And then you only focus in on the happy times and the good times and the fun you had and the feeling you had being on stage playing that shit. You know, the magic that it felt like when the band was tight and locked in and you're just nailing the fucking songs and it sounds great. You're all grooving and into it. You're feeding off each other's energy. Yeah, it's magical. I mean, on many levels. I mean, even if it's not like playing in front of a fucking theater or a forum or whatever, to thousands of people, if it's only just 10 people, as long as you're locked in and you're feeling it and you have a good memory of it, you know, that's all it takes, you know. And it's just unfortunate that all of my memories of that are all from 20 years ago when I was in Funky Circus Fleas, and none of them in the last 3 bands that I was in. The sober bands, you know. And I'm not saying it's because I was sober being in those bands. It's because I don't know. I guess it's just well, the reformation of Bacteriostatic could have been better. I mean, the music to me was fun. It was upbeat. We were having a good time. I had a great time writing it. But playing it sucked because Payne was a fucking straight up alcoholic addict, just out of his fucking mind. I mean, assuming he could actually get through the song sober, which he barely could, you start throwing drugs and alcohol into the mix, it's a no-go. And it's like, I just got tired of it. I got tired of wanting to get into the music, and that's one of the fundamental things about having a rhythm section that's locked in tight, you know. You can always be sure that wherever you go and wherever you are in the song and wherever you are at the show, it's like you can just you can be free enough to get into it. There's a safety net there, you know, and you can really feel comfortable. But when you have to worry about the drummer getting off beat, missing cues, missing this, changing, speeding up, slowing down, shit like that, and you feel like you have to actively moderate your playing to play catch up to them, or at least keep pace with them, or whatever, cover up their mistakes, it's not a fun experience. It really, really isn't. And it sucked. And that was that whole band. It was kind of the same thing for Shiloh Road too. Shiloh Road was a clusterfuck. Shiloh Road was just an absolute fucking clusterfuck. Too many fucking musicians, too much wall of sound shit. And it just didn't gel. We didn't have any songs that really resonated. It was just boring. Old Man Eloquent was, I don't know. It just never really became what I wanted it to. I wanted it to be something else, and then once I started playing with other musicians, they forced my hand to change it into something that I didn't want it to be. Because I was very much into doom, and I wanted it to be more doomy than stoner rock or anything like that. But no one else I've ever met or known in music has been into doom. So I was like, what am I supposed to do now? None of these motherfuckers want to play doom. So that was out. And then by the end, it started becoming, with Sean in the band, toward the end, it started becoming more and more of a really bad Queens of the Stone Age ripoff. And I was like, this is just, I'm not feeling this anymore. You know, I'm really not. It's not what I want it to be. I mean, ultimately, we were turning it into Funky Circus Fleas in B. Is what we were doing. I'm like, if we're going to play fucking Funky Circus Fleas, let's just fucking tune it up and play Funky Circus Fleas, for God's sakes. Why are we flirting with the alternative? Why are we pretending it's not what this is? I mean, fuck it. Just call it what it is. And I don't know. It sucks. It fucking blows. But I wonder sometimes about throwing something together that's more upbeat and poppy and more like that, but like the old Funky Circus Fleets material. But I'm almost 50. I can't be doing this shit. Oh yeah, we did the temp name thing too. We used to use the code names for Normandy beaches and initially ended up writing a bunch of World War II songs. Remember the name have no connection to the song. That's like Botch. Botch did that with one of their albums. Like all of their albums were the names of countries just with M in it, like Japan and Spain, Afghanistan. But the songs had nothing to do with that. It was just like, I think that was an era where people just did that shit. You know, just goofy names, just names that weren't associated with the songs. I mean, that was Old Man Eloquent. We had Ugly Sweater Party. It had nothing to do with that. It was like so far off the mark from what the song was about. Instant Win Game. That was just shit I heard. You know? And it just, oh, that's the name of the song, but it never changed names, you know, after that. Gut Flora, that was just it was stomach bacteria, and I thought, Gut Flora, that's an interesting sounding name. I'm just going to write that down real quick, and that became the name of the song. But by the end, like, some of the songs I was writing at the end was like, what was it, Back to Leather, House Party 3, you know, what, that has nothing to do with anything. It's just dumb scratch titles, but we still did it. Back to Leather was such a fucking... Back to Leather was the last song we ever wrote, and it was very much like a Iron Maiden type song. It was very fast and very much like in the vein of that. But that's what I meant. Like, the band was kind of veering off into territory that I never meant it to be. Fucking House Party 3 was straight up Queens of the Stone Age. It was absolutely Queens of the Stone Age. And I'm just like, I'm not feeling it. But I look around at other musicians. I look around at bands today, and I don't see anything that's actually inspiring any sort of real interest. I mean, I guess, but again, I'm linked to my age. I'm linked to my experience and my history. You know, it's like, what's going to be interesting to me isn't going to be the same as what kids would be into today. And that's why I say that if I wanted to live out this midlife crisis fantasy of mine and be like, I'm going to be in a band again, we're going to play some songs that I think are going to be really cool and the kids get into. What the fuck do I know about what the kids get into? You know, if it's not pop, if it's not some fucking, you know, if it's not, I don't even know if K-pop's still a thing. I do not know what's popular. I wouldn't know. Video game music. The only person I know who fits into an age group that I would say is young enough to be in a demographic of what we would be trying to achieve or play to, listens to fucking video game soundtrack music, and she's not the first person who's told me that was the thing that they were listened to and were more interested in. I'm like, well, what do you do with that? What, are we going to write video game music? No. It's like, I don't know. I'm a relic of a bygone era, which all 50-year-olds are. And Sean and I could get together. I've suggested many times that we could just throw on some webcams, get together in a room with our instruments and just, you know, jam for a live audience. Do it every week. Get together and do our little live performance. I've noticed a lot of older bands are doing that now because there's nowhere left to play. So even the idea I had, and this was several years ago, has proven to be something that was never going to work out anyway. I mean, not for people our age, but for anyone really. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's all over everywhere you look. Most of the music that I've gotten into in the past 3 or 4 years has been live recordings of some musician or group in some fucking weird space put on by some fucking hipster fucking outfit. And it's like, it's just moments in time, captured, and it's magical. I'll be the first to admit it. I mean, it's fucking, it's great. It's cool. It gives, it really infuses you with a lot of, this is really badass. This is cool. But that's not a live performance. It's not a live performance. It's a stand-in for an album, a music video, and all that. It's all in one. It's a replacement for all of that. And it's also a replacement for live shows, because then when these people have to go out and play, it doesn't have the same magic as those performances they did. There's a lot Sierra Farrell was one of those artists that did that. And then you listen to her albums, it's like, this isn't as good as the live performance. Like it what God, fucking The Armed, they were doing that shit, and their live recordings of the stuff that they were doing, their live performances, sounded so much better than the albums and better than their live shows. And it kind of kills the whole thing, because you're like, well, why would I ever want to see them live? They're at their best when they're in this produced, controlled environment doing their thing. It's a magical experience there, but then again, it could be more manufactured than I'd like to believe it to be. And I mean, I've been in the industry, so I fucking know how fake a lot of live albums and shit like that are. So tell us about the terrible things you were doing. What terrible things I was doing? You have to be more specific. I may have said something. Oh, what are you talking about? Are you like really late on the stream? Victor may be very late on the stream, or what he's watching may be very far behind. If you're talking about toward the end of the band shit, that's the only thing I could think of you're referencing. I was doing fucking, I'd start fights with people. God, I would fucking scream racist shit at fucking black clubs that we were playing. Like clubs that were like half, like some nights they'd be rap, have rap and fucking shit like that. And then they'd have one night a week, they'd have like a metal night. And I'd come in there and I'd fucking be screaming racist shit because I'm so fucking wasted. And it's like, I'm just trying to get a rise out of everyone with me, and they're all fucking, shut up, fuck, get a shot, stuff. Starting fights with people, kissing dudes. I used to forcefully like tongue kiss other band guys in bands just to fucking freak them out and piss them off. Because I'm so fucking wasted, I don't give a shit. I'd hit on other people's girlfriends, destroy shit, I puked in someone's fucking car. This is the person who's taking me home from a bar where I was so shit-faced. I literally passed out on my feet, fell face first, carrying a tray of rum and cokes, fell face first into the table, broke the table. Glasses shatter all over the fucking floor. I fall right into it. I'm fucking passed out. They have to drag my ass out. We're all kicked out of the bar at this point. They throw me in the car, and then I just fucking puke all over this person's fucking car, who's just a friend of somebody who came to watch our show. And I'm like They're having to fucking babysit me because I'm so fucking wasted. I mean, I guess that's not. It's not terrible. It's just that's just the rock world. That's what you do when you're dumb and rock and roll. But a lot of it was just being so drunk that I just did not give a fuck. If I had the time and the money, I'd be right back into doing music. I know about live shows with lots of publishing on various platforms. Well, I thought that same thing too, you know. Once I started, once I bought Studio One and started getting back with Sean and working with him on some material and things like that, I thought, well, I'll be happy just working on material, writing some stuff, him and I creating. But it's like a gateway drug, you know. It's like you get a little taste, and then it's like you start to remember the past and the fun times you had, and like, boy, if I could just have that again, recapture a little bit of that. And sometimes I think all it would really take for me is to play one Funky Circus Flea show. That would be it. If I played one Funky Circus Flea show, like they just put together shows, like, hey, we're going to play, and John's back and he's going to be playing with us one night. We're going to play the old California stuff. We're going to play blah, blah, blah. That would probably be enough to satiate me. That might be like, yeah, that was great. Awesome. Cool. I got it out of my system, but who knows? I don't know. I think about that as I sit around with all this shit, which I got to get everything in my little sphere here organized. Like, I don't have my monitors hooked up right now. I have this extra monitor that's got to go. I'm trying to work off a TV that I got to bring down. My keyboard's all fucking pushed to the side. I just got the SSL back, so that's good. I can work with that. But I just got to get everything organized. But I'm also having the issue of do I want to spend all my time not at work in this room working on 20-year-old material, you know, that's really only going to be listened to by me and one other fucking person. It's like, why am I doing this to myself? But what else am I going to do? It's cold out. I don't want to fucking be out in the cold. That's part of the whole deal. Is like, I want to go out hiking, but it's too fucking cold. I'm too old. I'm skin. It doesn't look like it, but I am skin and fucking bones. I really am. All the fucking muscle on my body is gone. And it's like, I'm just drapey skin and skeleton. And the cold just gets to me so bad. Earlier this week, I was just begging Soraya to quit her job. She's like, if you quit your job, I'll quit my job and we can move back down to Florida. Like, let's fucking do it. I can't stand this cold anymore. Fuck this. And I would too. There's nothing holding me back now. Fuck this. And she's got friends who live down like southwest Georgia, kind of on the Alabama-Georgia border. I was like, man, that'd be great. We could move to fucking Pensacola, Florida. That'd be close by. Then we could fucking hang out with them. We could be in Florida. I mean, northern Florida still gets cold, but I mean, it's good enough. And if it started to get even colder, we could then move further south. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. Which sucks. I hate this idea of living in the past, you know. I hate it. I hate just thinking all of my days are behind me and all I have left to do is just reflect. And I think about that more and more when I think about like my brother-in-law who's going through a battle with lung cancer right now. You know, and I look at his situation and I think, you know, he probably didn't think that his days were coming to a close. You know, he probably thought I have so much more time ahead of me. I got so much more time available to do all the things I wanted to do. And now that's all in question. you know? There's a big question mark on all of that. Whether or not they can get all the cancer, you know, whether or not they can shrink it down enough with the chemo to be able to remove it. And then when they go in to cut it out, whether or not they get it all, you know, I mean, that's one question in and of itself. I mean, the stroke that he had as a result of blood clots, you know, getting lodged in his shit. And, yeah, I mean, he's lost feeling to one of his hands that hasn't come back after like a month now. You know, doctors don't even know if it'll ever come back. You know, that could cost him his career. He may be done as a boat captain, you know. And that's the kind of thing you don't think about, you know. You don't think about it until you have to think about it. Most guys don't. That's why I mean, like, guys don't really sit around focusing on their emotions and thinking about the big picture and shit. That's why they end up in situations where they just barrel forward and do what they do and end up where they end up. But what do you do when everything's stripped away from you, you know? And in Keith's case, it's like, oh boy, it sucks, you know? And I think about that in my situation, because I have like a tumor in my on my pituitary gland that I haven't gotten checked out in 2 years. My doctor has been flat out begging me to get an MRI, but you know, I just now switched over to the state, so I finally got in to give them my insurance information. They said they're going to get in touch with me when going to get the MRI scheduled and get back to me once they have it scheduled. Now they haven't. I'm like, okay, but that's another one of those things where it's like one day I could wake up and I could be blind. You know, it's there. It's on the periphery. They say if it keeps growing, I will go blind. And I hear things like that and I think, it's not going to happen. But I'm sure Keith thought the same thing, you know. I mean, not to say that he was like, he had any foreknowledge of the cancer, but I'm sure when he was feeling down or feeling bad or had, you know, the last thing in the world he thought was, this is going to be something that's going to compromise my livelihood or end my life, you know. And I'm the same way with this. It's like, I don't think about it. And I won't think about it. It won't even consume any part of my life until it actually happens. And then it's just going to be like, what the fuck do I do now? And I don't know. I guess we'll find out after I get the MRI, because if it's grown, then shit, you know, it's basically a matter of time at that point, because there's, I don't know. I think it's I think they've told me in the past it's inoperable. It's not in a place where they can get to it. So if they can't take care of it with drugs, try to shrink it that way, which I think they were trying to do with the drugs that I've been on. If that's doesn't take care of it, then it's sort of one of those kind of, we just have to wait and find out sort of deals. But I would rather, I'm one of these people where I'd say I'd rather die than be blind. Just fucking, it's, that's so ableist. It's like, yeah, but you go through a whole life of seeing to not seeing. It's like, you really do know what you're missing. Not to mention, me earning a paycheck is pretty fucking important. I can't do it without sight. My whole fucking job is a visual based job. I have to be able to see to do it. You know, there is no doing it blind. It is a visual medium. So yeah, I literally, it's like lights out for me. Literally. I won't be as jovial, that's for sure. One can only hope that it's not going to be anything super serious, but I have yet to see. I always have a gun. I can always take the easy way out. I mean, fuck. Here I am talking about spending the rest of my life like reflecting on, you know, my life instead of living it. living in the past and living with the regret of knowing that it took too long to get to where I was and I didn't capitalize on the key moments of my life where things would have mattered. And it does feel weird to me that it's like the whole of existence is shifting away from me. You know, it's like even the things that I am interested to do that I could do at this age, I can't do because the whole of society and culture has shifted away so drastically from it that I can't make heads or tails of it. Like making a movie. I can't make what kind of movie am I going to make? You know? Where's it going to go? Where's it going to be seen? Netflix? Assuming you can even get it picked up. Think of all the trash that's on Netflix and on Amazon Prime and Hulu and and Tubi and all these other fucking, you know, streaming platforms. There's so much garbage that gets pumped out to these things that there's so much shit you won't even see because there's so much of it being dumpster trucks, just fucking dump trucks, just dumping all this horrible shit there. You know, and it's like you can't get away. Your work, unless you've got an in and you've got networking connections and potential in that regard, your movie's not getting seen. You're not going anywhere. It's the same industry it always has been. It's not about quality of work or effort or the story. It's about who you know. Always has been, always will be. And I don't know anybody. Although I'm starting to meet people, but they're all in politics, so that doesn't really help me. Awesome, screening racist stuff is cool, and apparently you're also gay. No. Not gay. Just experimenting. No, I wasn't experimenting. Literally, it was just funny to me. And I fucking laughed my ass off. Nope. 202. No, 204. I'm sorry. Every fucking time at 204 can never figure out why it does that, but whatever. Yeah, screaming racist stuff in a black club. That might get you into trouble. I didn't even know I did it. And I didn't know I did it for many, many years. It wasn't until many, many years after that I was playing a show with, in one of my other bands, with one of the bands that we were playing with that night when I was in Funky Circus Fleas. He's like, do you even remember that night? I'm like, what night are you talking about? It's like the night at at whatever club. I can't remember the name of it. He's like, you don't remember that night? It was like, because he was like, yeah, I kind of have had a problem with you ever since that night. Like, really? It's like, what did I do? Then he explained it. And I'm like, I was like, I did? He's like, you don't even remember it? It's like, dude, I don't know if you realize that. I mean, I'd be shocked if you didn't know this, but I was a horrible alcoholic back then. Like, I got so blackout drunk that I didn't know half the shit I did. It's like I've met people well after the fact of being in that band that they're like, man, you remember me? You got to remember me. Like, I've never met you before in my life, pal. And they're like, dude, we fucking talked all night. You have to remember me. Like, sorry. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I was like, I was a fucking drunk, you know? I was a fucking massive drunk. Spent many years of my life in a fucking alcoholic haze. I met a lot of people I don't remember. As a result, I can't remember a lot of things in my life. My brain is fucking Swiss cheese. You know, it sucks. We still have plenty of life left. There'll probably be the things like cancer and heart disease coming up, you know, worsening arthritis, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, well, I do have something I gotta get checked out on my... Oh, you got to that part, did you? Okay. Yeah. No, I've had a cyst on my pituitary gland it's been growing for 10 years. They didn't know it was there. Actually, it's been longer than that. It's been like 15 years. They didn't know it was there before. It got big enough to where they could see it on a recent MRI. it was funny because I went in for the MRI. I had to go in for an MRI because I was having pain in my head, my temple, every single day about 2 o'clock, right around there, 1 or 2 o'clock. It'd feel like somebody took a fucking ball peen hammer and whacked me in the fucking temple. It's just like, and I just kind of lock up like, oh, it's like, okay, I'm fine. But I'm like, it was going on for like every single day for like 3 weeks straight. I'm like, this is not right. Something's up. So I go to my doctor. I explained it. They're like, okay, well, I guess we can get you checked out. And they were checking me, all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, we haven't found it, so we're going to send you, get an MRI done. I'm like, okay, I'll do the MRI. And that's when they call me back. It's like, well, the tumor is about the size. I was like, what? I'm sorry, excuse me? The what? They're like, well, we're not entirely sure if it's a tumor or it's a fluid-filled cyst. We still have to do more studies on it. We have to do more on it. But we're going to try to give you this medicine and see if we can shrink it and see if that'll help and take care of it. It's like, but until then, we don't really know exactly what it is. I was like, okay. So they started me on this regimen of some medicine. And then my insurance got into a fucking brawl with the medical health provider I was going to, and stopped covering their service. So for an entire year, I couldn't go to any of my specialists because they were all through this fucking clinic. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? It's like, well, we got to shift you over to something else. And that took a long time. By the time I got back around to that, my prescription for the drug had ran out. So I had to wait to see another endocrinologist before I could get re-upped on that. So I went like a year without taking that again. So they're like, well, your levels are up again, so I guess we're going to have to put you on the pills and start the whole process over again. I'm like, well, this fucking sucks. So they do it again, and then I end up fucking once again running out of prescription. Endocrinologist leaves, and I'm like, I don't have a refill for a prescription. They won't fucking honor it. I can't get it. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then my doctor's like, well, you can come to me. I can get it for you. It's like, so in the future, so that time I only went like 6 months without it. So then I've been on it for the past 3 months, 3 or 4 months, maybe. I'm getting a refill here pretty soon. But once I go to the MRI, go back in for a new MRI, it's like, then it'll literally be, I think, 3 years since the last time they checked it. But the last time I talked to him, oh, and by the way, the thing in my pituitary gland has nothing to do with the fucking pain that I was feeling. That was because of fucking coffee, if you can believe it. It was an incidental find. How fucking lucky for me. But I had an MRI done many, many years ago because I was having like two fingers in my right hand went completely dead. I could not feel them at all. I was like, what the fuck? And it was like that for like a month. I was like, okay, something's going on. So I go in, and they test my wrist, elbow, shoulder, neck, all the way up. And then they start sticking pins in me and like testing my fucking nervous system. Like, well, we can't find anything in your, all the way up to your spinal column. So now we got to MRI you. So they run the MRI, like, nope, we don't find anything there. And then shortly after, I get the feeling back in my hand. I was like, okay, so what was it? Like, I don't know. Be happy you got your feeling back. I was like, fuck you people. But when they, many, many years later, when they looked back after the MRI where they were able to see the tumor on my pituitary gland, they're like, oh, we look back at that MRI you got done in 2008 or whatever, and we saw it there. It's just really small. We never would have picked up on it back then, but it's there. You can see it. I was like, well, I'm so happy for you that you were able to spot the thing that's now grown big enough to see. It's like, am I supposed to be happy about that or what? Like, that just confirms it's growing, that it's not something that just popped up in the last couple of years, that it's been fucking developing and growing for a decade now. And it is getting bigger. It's like, I guess their thing is like, well, it may not get big enough to be a problem. Like, well, that's fucking great. To be fair, if you go blind, you'll have nothing but music. You got me there. That's actually a look on the positive side. The sunny, always look on the brighter side of things. I'll have all the music in the world to listen to. I just won't know what I'm listening to until I cue it up because I won't be able to see the computer screen. Yeah, fuck that. Just taking it in stride. Well, there's nothing much you can do. We all got to go sometime, actually. I had this grand plan how I was going to go out. I had decided early on that I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take heroin. I'm going to go out on a heroin trip. I'm just going to fucking OD on heroin. And I was talking to my friend who could actually get me heroin. I ran that idea by him. He's like, dude, you don't want to do that. It's like, why? It's like, because there's no guarantee you'll die. It's like, It's like, and then he kind of prepared me for the reality of the situation, which it's like, it's really it's not as easy as you think to die of a heroin overdose or an overdose period. It's like, you got to really fucking do it for a long time and really push yourself to the brink. It's like, it's not like you can just take it and then boom, gone. Like, I was like, even if I'm old, he was like, I don't know about that, but he was like, but I've been around a lot of heroin addicts. I've seen a lot of people fucking slip off. It's like, you can bounce back. Like, it's like, if you're looking at that as a way out, like, don't, because they'll bring your ass right back, and then you'll be in the fucking care of the state, and they'll be monitoring you and all sorts of shit, because it's like, you don't want that. I'm like, yeah, I definitely don't want that. So, but I'd never tried heroin in my life, so it was like, figured, fuck it, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna have a couple of experiences. But no. Life's not. I always say that I'm optimist. I am an optimistic person. Like, the only thing that keeps me going day after day is my eternal optimism. Because if I was truly a nihilist, like a lot of people believe I am, I would be dead. Because that's the only successful way to be a nihilist, is to kill yourself. But I don't believe in nihilism, so to speak. I'm postmodernist. As much as it makes me cringe to say that, I call into question all of reality and all tenets of morality and substance. I just don't fucking. I've been down so many different paths. Grew up in the fucking church for majority of my young life. Got away from that. Seen the world through different eyes and different lenses. Associated with so many different groups of people and types of people. Now I'm fully in the thralls of politics, and it's like, it's all the same. It's all the same bullshit. It would be interesting to see how far I can go with my newfound pals. The connections and the networking I can do with politicians. It would be interesting to see what that could develop into and where that could go. Although it's not my trip. I'm not a guy who seeks power. I'm not power mad or power hungry, or I got to be known, infused into the system. But I've been kicked around so much in my life. It would be nice at least once in my life to do a little bit of kicking myself. And there's no better way than to kick somebody from so far on high that they didn't even know they got kicked by you. It's like, if you cross me, I'll have the government come down on you. That kind of thing. That would be funny. It'd be more funny than anything else. I mean, that's the only thing that would motivate me to do it, is just for the hilarity of it, to see if it would actually work. But I don't know. It's also sinister as fuck. But that's the corruption of power and the abuse of power. And I've said for a long time, I don't want to play any part in it. I already feel dirty enough that I got to be paid taxpayer dollars, you know, for what I do. It's never set well with me, and it never will. That's why I don't think I'm long for this job. I mean, the job's easy. It's the principles involved. I'm a very principled person, and I don't like working for the government. I just don't. Don't hold me to that. Employers, if you're watching. I'll do the job. I'm going to try to... ever since I took my car to Chicago once, and now I'm getting reimbursed for travel, and I saw the total of what they're going to pay me, I'm like, I ain't doing this anymore. Because they're paying me... I mean, they're only paying me 70 cents per mile, but a trip to Chicago and back is a lot of miles. So it's a lot of money. And I'm like... I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that guy that fucking, like, if I'm going up there every week and I'm getting fucking $400 extra a week for a one single trip to Chicago, I'm like, I don't like that. I mean, if it was a company paying me, different story. But the state, no. Somebody else can do it. And that's what other people told me. It's like, well, you know, it's already earmarked for that. It's already in a travel budget. Somebody else will do it. You know, if you don't go, somebody else is going to go. So they're going to still be paying it out. So why not you? But that's the problem with society. That's what everyone says. Why not you? Why don't you get yours? Everyone else is getting theirs. Why don't you get yours? Well, how about we stop thinking that way? How about we stop being greedy all the fucking time and saying, like, what I have isn't enough and I always have to get more. What I have is enough. I mean, as far as, like, economically, my house, my cars, my livelihood, I have plenty. I'm fine. I don't need any more than this. I'd almost argue I have too much. I don't want any more. I don't need any more. So fuck all that. It's like I'm content. If more people were like that, you know, just get to the place where they feel comfortable and be content, things could be different. Things could change, you know. There could be a lot more left over for everyone else. But the older I get, the more I realize I'm an island of my own. An island unto myself. Nobody shares my sentiment. Everyone's out for themselves. And I'll die this way. I'll be one of the last people on the planet who goes out getting kicked the entire way, never taking advantage of opportunities to grift and make money and do bullshit. Trying to be an honest broker, you know. Not like it. And it doesn't pay. But like I said, I'm not looking for money. And I always used to tell the, you know, Tonka and Failure and all those guys, and Andy Worski, like, you know, it's like, congratulations on making all this money. You know, all this money you guys make per month, but how fucking long is that going to last? You know, what are you going to have to do to keep chasing those dollars? You know, what are you going to subject yourself to? What kind of spectacle will you become? I mean, I think everyone now understands, now realizes, especially in the case of Andy Worski and where he is now with Keno Casino. It's like, this is what he had to become. This is where he's at now to maintain that degree of... And I don't even know if he's making the same amount of money, you know. I really don't. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but is it worth it? I don't know. Not to me, it isn't. But to someone like him, maybe. Yeah. I mean, everyone's got their different perspectives and their different qualities and what they can do and what they can't. I would never be the first to say that Andy Worski has any sort of discernible talent other than just making an ass out of himself. So maybe he's right where he belongs, doing what he wants. So more power to him. But that's a hard road, and he has no security in the future. He's got nothing to go on, and that's not the kind of thing you can put on a resume. So I don't know. That shit still scares me. And I've even switched jobs since the last time I talked to him. You know, back when I thought I had a more secure career path, you know, and I had more shit going for me, you know, or I was going to be a lifer there and I was going to retire from there, you know. I was absolutely confident and secure in the reality that I was set for life, so to speak, you know. But I'm still in that boat. I'm still secure, far more secure than any online entity. I mean, unless they made millions, unless you're talking about like you know, Ethan Klein or somebody like that, PewDiePie, one of those other peoples, you know, you're not going to get much security unless you're making millions. And that's a very select, rare few. Everyone else is just grinding it out for the gold. They're in the mines. Fuck that. Never wanted that. Turned it, ran away from it every chance I got. Continue to run away from it. Because I've got nothing to offer. I'm just a almost 50-year-old man reflecting on his life, being miserable. And the title of this stream is It Will Happen to You Too. And it will. If you're watching this and you're like 30 years old and you think, wow, this guy's fucking pathetic. Why am I watching this? You know, you can, people, I guess a lot of this comes from, at least the title comes from my interactions with my coworker who's like 29. And she, her view on life is very typical of what you'd expect from a 29-year-old. And I think being in proximity with me isn't necessarily the best thing because I am who I am, you know, and people like her have to live their life. They're going to live their life how they choose, and they will. Young people are going to be how they are. The wisdom I try to impart to her is that, you know, when you're this young, this is the time to explore and experiment. This is the time to live your life, because once you get to my age, now's the time. That's the time where you settle in for the long haul. You know, you have what you need already set by this time, and you're just grinding it out to the end. Like, don't grind early on. Women have this tendency to just fucking graduate and then start grinding, and then their entire young adult life is spent wasting away in a grind. And it's like, don't do that to yourself. A lot of young people seem to be doing that nowadays because maybe there's not enough of the piece of the pie available for them. I don't know. But it sucks because it's like, make your mistakes now. When you're in your fucking 20s, get out there. Live your life. Make your mistakes. Be a bum. Be a traveling street urchin. Who fucking knows? Just do something. Do something. You know, because you can bounce back. Just like kids who get hurt on the fucking playground, you'll bounce back a hell of a lot faster and a hell of a lot quicker and a lot easier than you will when you're 40, 50 doing that shit. You know, because there's so much more at stake, and there's so much more on the line. Don't wait. Do it now. And I say that to her because I'm like, why the fuck are you here? Why are you at the state? It's like, why aren't you out pursuing your interests? Why you literally graduated college 3 or 4 years ago? Why aren't you pursuing that in another creative endeavor? Why are you doing this? It's like, and I get it. It's a place that hires young talent and wants to bring them in and do whatever. But it's like, yeah, but there's also a pretty high turnaround in that regard too. It's like, you should take the cue and really venture out. Don't stay here. This is coming from a guy who spent 21 fucking years at his last job. You know, it's like, it isn't worth it. You know, pursue your interests. Fulfill your needs. You know. But no one listens to me. Speaking of no one listening to me, I should throw out yesterday I stopped by my old job. Hence the microphone and the SSL interface that I bought from them yesterday. Yeah, I stopped by and paid them a visit. My old boss, my old coworkers, had a little chat with them. My old subordinate, my old employee, who's now doing video, which I told her. I was like, Nostradamus is back in the house. I told her, it's like, you'll still be doing this long after I'm gone. If you're still with the company and I leave, you'll be doing this. They'll get rid of me before they get rid of you. She didn't believe me. Yeah, well, here we are. And it's funny because all the things that they thought were going to be just so great and so easy, and it's all going to be just fine. It's not working out the way they hoped. But like I told Chad, the COO, in our last meeting, I told him, you can't keep me here because there's nothing you can say, there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can hope, wish, or whatever. It's not your money. And the person who holds the purse strings has already fired the first volley. And he's right. He's totally right. It's like, and it makes no sense for you guys to keep me here because it doesn't matter how good of a job I can do. It doesn't matter what my skill sets are and what I can bring to the table. If you don't need the skills I have, why would you pay for them? It just makes too much sense. But I was telling them before I left, if you're going to do this transition over to another company and have them take over all the advertising stuff, you should probably do it while I'm still here. That would probably make the most sense. Since I'm the most knowledgeable person in the advertising department left, you probably want to do it while I'm still employed. That way I can facilitate the transition. Well, they'll figure it out eventually. But, I would say it makes me happy to know that they're struggling. It doesn't. I mean, I was trying my best to help them. I mean, my leaving the company as I did was partially helping them. It really was. It's me looking out for the company that gave me so much. Because I don't want to be a burden on the company. I don't want to have to put them in a fucking awkward position to figure out what to do with me when there's so many other people in the company they're still going to have to do that for as they consolidate more and more things shut down and more, they lose more and more cable subscribers and it becomes more of an ISP than anything else. They've got that road ahead of them, so they don't need to worry about advertising. They don't need to worry about me, the videographer, It was time to move on. I stressed out about it for a very long time. But I got out. I feel good. I moved on, doing well, and everything's good. And I'm sure that the company that's doing their advertising for them now is going to work out all the kinks and get it all situated for the 5,000 subscribers they have left. And they're going to sail it off into the fucking sunset just fine. I don't have any animosity toward anyone there. I left on good terms. They gave me a bonus, upon leaving, which I felt like I deserved, and they did too. So, yeah, everything was good. It's just, it is a little, it did make me a little happy to hear that they're struggling. Just, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little. I got a smile on my face. I'm like, bet you wish you didn't get rid of me now. But still, I mean, nothing would change the fact that the writing was on the wall. The writing was on the wall for many years. Nothing changed that. It was going to happen, and it's weird how you can be in a daze for so long, and just try to ignore the truth and the reality of your situation because it doesn't benefit you and it's just going to create stress and it's going to be bad. It's just a bad deal. But I've proven in my own exploits and my own fucking path that I followed, I have proven that if you are proactive enough and you get out in front of it enough, you can land on your feet. You can make a lateral move. You know, you have a better opportunity to get in front of the situation and come out on top than you do just letting the fucking circumstances dictate your future movements. You know, and you're just reactive to the things that come down the pipe. Like if you get out in front of it, you're in a far better position. And also it helped with my confidence level too, because by the end of the CASCOM era, I felt like dog shit. I felt like it didn't matter how good I was at my job. Nobody fucking wanted it. It was a useless fucking thing, blah, blah, blah. Now I feel way different about it. Even though I'm not going to be doing it anymore, like outside, because I don't have a camera anymore, and I'm not going to be getting a camera because I just don't see how I have the time to do it and all of that. So it's like, and I don't, what we do right now for the state does not involve much creativity or shit like that. But we could be blossoming into it. Who knows? I don't know. The longer I'm there, the more it seems like things change. Ever since I got there, convenient enough. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, and I'm down with whatever. But it was a good move, and I'm happy with that. The one thing I'm not happy with though is not having anything else going on in my life, and that's what's brought this whole thing on, and what's caused me to fall into what I like, the thing I like to refer to as the existential crisis of my life, which is midlife crisis. Of just realizing more of the happiness of my life has passed me by. I'd rather be back there doing that stuff at the time when I could do it, and I just don't feel like I can do it anymore. What do I do now? And that's the question I wake up with every morning going forward. What do I do now? And it's sad that I don't have an answer to that. So until I do, I'll just continue to be a little morose. Try to focus on work, even though I really need to focus on my life, not focus on work. But I don't know. They're all intertwined. I'm going to call it. It's 9:03. So I've been streaming for 2 hours and 35 minutes. So yeah, I am out. And this was my stream. Bunch of nothing, as it usually is. So have a good night, and I will catch you again later, some other time. I don't know when, but I don't plan these things out. So bye.